hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, the sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know, they're gonna have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Do you think that she should publicly testify?
I've been totally exonerated on Epstein.
How powerful are the Epstein files and the compromat on Donald Trump that he can be blackmailed into turning from a no new wars president into a many new wars president? The United States and Israel have bombed Iran. The Ministry of Intelligence, the Ministry of Defense, Khamenei himself, the Atomic Energy Agency and the Prime Minister's office already supposedly targeted in broad daylight. It shows that the perceptions in Washington and Tel Aviv are that Iran poses no deterrence. It has no deterrent, despite it threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz and bomb U.S. bases in the region. We're, of course, all waiting for any retaliation, but clearly this demonstrates the unity between those hawks in Washington who have persuaded Trump to even go on television or his Truth Social explaining that Americans will die, possibly, as he says he will annihilate the Iranian Navy and parts of the Iranian armed forces, as he calls for a coup. The first thing to note is that the Global South and the BRICS movement, they have demonstrated time and time again failure in the face of American violence. From Venezuela, where the leader, Maduro, and his First Lady, Celia Flores, could just be kidnapped. From Beirut, where Hezbollah said it will fight the Israeli enemy and was all but destroyed. It's clear now that people underestimate in the Global South the intentions of the United States, despite all the rhetoric. The fact that broad daylight could be the scene of these attacks from the United States and Israel shows just how forces of neocolonialism, imperialism, and neoconservatism, how powerful those forces are. The UAE condemned the American ambassador in Israel, Mike Huckabee, for his designs, messianic designs, not only on all of Palestine, but on parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq as well, let alone Jordan and the entire West Bank, the destruction of huge swathes of the Arab world. What will now happen will be the bluff has been called and the response will be judged. If there is no retaliation, the United States will feel, those elements of power in the United States will feel unbeatable. As for the Christian Zionists and those more messianic settler class within Israel, they will feel they don't care about any possible end of times and end of the world.
Donald Trump has been exonerated from the Epstein files. Again, Donald Trump's been exonerated as it pertains to the Epstein files. And that's what he says. I mean, just ask him. He said it. It has to be true, right, MAGA? I mean, if he said it, it's true. So, God damn it. I was really looking forward to maybe him seeing his day in court and actually going to prison, you know, having that shame, you know, and maybe getting our country back. But damn it, he's been exonerated. Teflon Don, he's back again. Exonerated Don. Yeah. I mean, those pranksters at the FBI putting his name in those files over 1 million times, that must have taken a shitload of time to do. I mean, holy shit. And to have him be not guilty of a fucking thing in there? Good prank, fellas. Good one. My name's Damien. I'm for democracy.
I am exonerated from low views, low engagement, and low subscribers. Yes, I'm exonerated. Now, that's the same way Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is feeling right now. He has been exonerated from Jeff Epstein file. Like, seriously? Are you sure about that? But then this is it. Like he said, he stated clearly, Jeffrey Epstein was one of those person who doesn't even want him to get elected. Now, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Wow. FAFO, fuck around and find out. So yeah, we're having a lot of videos for different persons expressing themselves for more to think about President Donald Trump, stating clearly that he has been exonerated, sharing their thoughts on how they feel or what they see true that no one else is saying. Now, welcome back to Global Info TV. Original credit to the creators whose video will be used for this illustration and explanation and thoughts sharing. Now, remember to like, subscribe, and share if you love what we do, but please support us by subscribing. That's one way you can support us and also help more persons to get to see what we do. So yeah, I'll be right back. Let's watch these videos.
Trump may have really miscalculated with these Epstein list debacle. This could be really bad. I am shocked but excited to see how much MAGA is fracturing over this. They are really, really angry. It's surprising to me because to those of us who have known and understood this whole time what kind of person Trump is, it's just shocking to see how far the wool is down over their eyes. Like, they really thought that this billionaire was going to drain the swamp. They really thought that this guy who brags about grabbing women by the pussy, who said a bunch of weird, gross stuff about his underage daughter, who bragged about walking in on teenage beauty pageant contestants while they're getting dressed, who had, Katie Johnson, who was 13, testified about what happened to her with Trump and Epstein when she was 13 years old. They really thought that that guy was going to be the one to release the Epstein list. They honestly believed that, and now they're really angry that that's not going to happen. I am all for it. I support you guys. This is like maybe the one thing out of a gazillion that we can agree on. But yeah, hold them accountable. Demand that he release the list. You're never going to get the real list. You're never going to get the real one because Trump is on it. Okay? But it's just shocking to see how angry they are, because what they've been doing for 10 years is just apologizing for everything he does, pretending that he didn't say stuff that he said, and just making endless excuses. Could this be the first agenda item that they don't allow him to make excuses for? Could they really hold him accountable for this? I would love to see it. Good luck.
That is evidence, not proof, but that is evidence. When the FBI interviews a woman 4 times, as recently as 2019, and she says, I was sexually assaulted by Donald Trump at the age of 14, that is not proof that she was sexually assaulted, but it is evidence that must be investigated. This is why Pam Bondi perjured herself 2 weeks ago before the House Judiciary Committee when she said to Ted Lieu, there's no evidence of any criminal wrongdoing in the Epstein files by Donald Trump. Okay, so that's what Roger Sollenberger found. And there's other stuff, more evidence against Donald Trump in the Epstein files. But Roger Sollenberger found this.
Trump's biggest mistake is thinking MAGA would never turn on him. The fractures in MAGA, baby, they're piling up like bad credit. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, the queen of conspiracy couture, is mad at Donald Trump. Why? Because he's sending weapons to NATO. Yeah, this is the same Trump that told them during the campaign he was pulling out of all foreign conflicts. The same person who said that Ukraine is corrupt and we shouldn't be involved. See, Marjorie believed him. A lot of MAGA folks did. They took Trump's word like gospel, even though he was lying like a rug. Now he's doing the exact opposite, and Marjorie's making it clear she's not willing to trash her little raggedy rep because he's trying to flip the script on them. I'm telling you, Trump is miscalculating. This guy has gotten cocky because he's gotten so used to doing anything and saying anything, and his base eating it up with a spoon. But this time, nah, The cracks are showing this time. And once people like Marjorie Taylor Greene start stepping back, that's not a fracture. That's a damn fault line.
This was not America's State of the Union. It was Donald Trump's state of delusion. He sat up there, you know, he has a huge ego. He loves patting himself on the back. But the average American was sitting there saying, I'm paying 6% more for electricity. I'm paying 10% more for meat. My health care bills are going up. And Donald Trump isn't even talking about it. In fact, he had so little good to say about what he's doing that he had to spend so much of the time talking about really true American heroes that he had nothing to do with. He'd had nothing to do with the hockey team, for instance, winning, and they're great. This speech was an utter failure for Donald Trump. It was a lot of hype, it was a lot of fluff, but when you're having a rough time paying the bills and you hear your president mocking you because of that, you get angry. This speech was a disaster for Donald Trump because he's in such a bubble, he is not talking about what the American people care about. Contrast his speech to Spanberger's. She was right on the money, focusing on what Americans care about. And that's, you know, anywhere you go, you can hear this. And that's why Donald Trump has the lowest popularity numbers. He's in this bubble. He scratches his own ego, but he doesn't do anything to help the American.
Trump comes over to me as one of the angriest people alive.
You wouldn't really know what was happening, but Americans didn't want that. And they picked a disruptor because they felt it had gotten so out of control that, yes,
but they also picked a disruptor because he had got such control of the Republican Party. How many Republicans you speak to who will say in private, the guy's an absolute monster, I wouldn't trust my daughter with him, whatever, I wouldn't do a deal with him. And yet publicly, you're all out there. Look, because he's so powerful over the party.
He is more powerful in the Republican Party today than at any given time.
Okay. But when you were talking about Ronald Reagan earlier, and I did meet Ronald Reagan, and even though I'm very much not his politics, I could see what you mean.
He's a world leader.
Right, but he's also that happiness and that sort of positivity, right? Trump comes over to me as one of the angriest people alive.
NPR is saying that more than 50 pages of FBI interviews and notes tied to allegations involving Donald Trump are cataloged but not public. They exist. The government acknowledges they exist. They just will not let you see them. How convenient is that? Do not insult our intelligence by pretending this is about privacy or procedure. The entire purpose of this law was to prevent exactly that kind of selective disclosure. This is really concerning, and it should be really concerning for every single person in America. Because how do you get to the bottom of this? Many people have suffered consequences all over the world for those files, but no one here in the United States. What's that all about? Some folks have not been charged. They have just been investigated, but not here in the United States.
Seen the videos and see why MAGA supporters are furious, why they feel bad and feel hungry. Not just because he's been exonerated, but because they wanted the full file to be out there so everybody can see and know who is in the files, who are the top boys that are in the files. Jeffrey Epstein file is something everybody wants to see and know what's in it, what's inside. So they're furious. And they keep asking, how did you become exonerated? How did you become exonerated? Who was able to go into the file and exonerate you? Who did that? And how did you get exonerated? So that's the question they're asking the MAGA supporters. I believe you've seen the videos of other persons who are expressing their feelings and what they think or how they feel about this whole thing. Original credit to owners of content that has been used for this illustration. Remember to like, share, subscribe. That's one way you can support our channel and see us again to support us to do what we do. I love you guys. Thanks again. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. Peace, y'all.